Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020, and let's jump right in. Yesterday, for our math talk, we had some sequencing or skip counting. So I'll bring you all closer. All right, so in the units, had some sequencing by ones, either going up or down. The answers are in red. In our tens, or our blue column, we started to skip count by twos, fives, tens, twos again, fives again, with more gaps. If you did the blues column, you can go ahead and pause this video and check that work as well. And in that hundreds column, getting increasingly more challenging, we skip counted by 7, by 8, by 9, down by 3, and down by 4. So if you went ahead and did this work, feel free to pause the video and to check how you did. Now for tomorrow, for today, for Work It Out Wednesday, here in our units column, again, we have some addition problems. Now, these ones could all be solved on your addition finger chart. Could also be solved on your small or large bead frames or your stamp game, depending on what you have made at home. Some of you, it might be mental math at this point. In our blue tens column, we have some more addition problems. This time, it's going to be bigger than your addition finger chart, so this would need to be done on the stamp game. Every one of you knows how to use addition stamp game. I know some of you are working on either addition or division. This would be a great practice for you. Others of you might use that small or large bead frame, or some of you might be doing it in your head or with paper and pencil. And then over here in the hundreds column, in red, we do have some subtraction equations. Again, going to be too large for your subtraction finger chart. However, this could be stamp game, definitely, small bead frame, large bead frame, or for those of you who are doing it abstractly with paper and pencil, go ahead and do that. All right, Work It Out Wednesday. All right, I need to get something that rolls for that camera. All right, now let's jump into our story elements for the week. So yesterday, we looked at the first two elements of a story. We looked at the characters, and we talked about the setting. So, did anybody figure out who is our main character in our story? If you said the main character is Louis Pasteur, you are correct. And let me just help you by writing his name so you can see how it's spelled. It has a lot of vowels in it. Louis, 4 vowels in a row, L-O-U-I-E, Pasteur, P-A-S-T-E-U-R. Let me just, yep. So again, some dynamic vowel teams there. All right, so if Louis Pasteur is our main character, who were our supporting characters? Maybe you said the bee. Maybe you said Joey Meister, who was bitten by the rabid dog. Perhaps you said Joey's parents, his mom and his dad. Maybe you mentioned the coachman. Maybe you mentioned other doctors or other people in Louis' life from when he was a kid who teased him over studying hard. Those might have all been support characters. And then our setting. The setting asks the questions where and when. And this is taking place in France in the 1800s, in around 1840, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, in 1847, Louis Pasteur earned his PhD, his doctorate. So this would have been taking place after that, but before he died. So in the mid-1800s in France. Now, stories also have three other elements, the first of which is the plot. And the plot is the series of interconnected events that make up the story. And it's a series, it's a sequence. So it means that what comes before impacts what comes later. You could think of it as cause and effect. And so the plot is connected. All of those events impact one another. And usually the plot has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So what I would like for you to do is think about our story. And then I want you to answer the question, what happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end? And in our classroom, we used to have a sheet of paper that looked a little something like this, which showed at the beginning, and you would finish the sentence. That's what those ... dots represent. And you have a place to draw a picture of what happened at the beginning. Same with in the middle. Again, you have your ellipsis to finish your sentence. And then at the end. So go ahead and try to boil this story down to 3 sentences. And if you're feeling so inclined, you could draw a picture of them as well. At the beginning, blank happened. In the middle, blank happened. Then at the end, blank happened. All right. Now, all stories will also have a conflict or a problem. If the story doesn't have a conflict or a problem, there's not really any point in telling the story. So, in the value in believing in yourself, can you help me figure out what is the conflict or problem? Because again, if there is not a conflict, then the plot doesn't have anything to work around. The plot is centered on the conflict or the problem and how those characters, whether the main or the support characters, try to solve that conflict. Every single story is going to have this in it. Every single good story, I should say. So think about this story and think about what is the conflict or problem that is trying to be solved. All right, and finally, the resolution. Resolution, 4-syllable word. The resolution is the part of the plot. The part of the plot where the conflict is solved or resolved. The part of the conflict where the problem, or the part of the plot where the problem is resolved. It typically happens at the end of a story. So my question for you to answer in a complete sentence, like these other ones, is how is the conflict resolved? How is the problem solved in this story? I'd love to hear what you think was that conflict and how the conflict was solved. We'll review those tomorrow, but again, my thoughts on the matter might be different than yours. So please feel free to share. All right, and now, yesterday's clue. I live in a colony with many of my companions. This home, which you call a hive, is built of little cells. Each hive is ruled by a queen who directs the whole community. I nourish myself with the nectar of flowers. With this nectar, I make a special food for the winter, which you like very much because it is so very sweet. Who am I? If you said a bee, you are correct. The bee. Yesterday, Liam, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday. Liam told me that honey never goes bad. It might just solidify, but you can always heat it back up and it will become that nice liquid deliciousness again. Fun fact for your morning from Liam. All right, today's Who Am I clue. I am the most plentiful insect on Earth. That means that there's more of this insect than any other insect on the planet. I live and work with hundreds of companions. We each have a special job to do. Our nest is called a colony, and we build them in many different places. I am not welcome at picnics. Do you know who I am? Tune in tomorrow to find out the answers to our story elements, our who I am or who am I clue, and get those answers to our number talk. All right, everyone. Happy Wednesday.